Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Untethered Minds, episode 15.
15.
15.
Is it 15? No, I'm just kidding. That's a little inside joke.
Tavis is trying to get murdered tonight, everybody. My Lanta.
Yeah.
We have a pretty much completely new setup. There's now 3 cameras, and I'm kind of like, who do I look at? What do I look at? Which camera?
We'll do like the Spider-Man meme pointing, the 3 Spider-Mans pointing.
Let me tell you guys, it really takes, this week we've just been like, patience has been our biggest freaking lesson in the world.
Yeah.
Even right now.
Yeah.
We're about ready to like each other's necks.
I think that's one-sided.
It's Saturday night. We work all week, so we still work today, and it's currently 10:50, and we're just starting.
Yeah, PM.
Yeah. It's so funny. Like, recording is one of those things where it takes so long until we finally start doing it, and then once you get into it for a couple minutes, like it just kind of flows. Oh yeah, right. But getting into it can be so tough sometimes. So a lesson in patience. Yet another one this week.
Patience.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Good news is we have updated our studio quite a bit here.
That's nice. We'll upload a couple of videos about it.
Yeah, we've been taking cool videos and stuff we're going to put together. Maybe post before this. But it's really neat, and we're just upping things so much, and we're very excited. And we're both wearing
some of our own merch.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to see. I'm wearing I have long hair, but this is one of our sweatshirts that'll be coming out soon. Has UM for Untethered Minds. And the back says our stuff too. We have a ton of, I'm not talking in the mic, my lord. I told you it's late.
You needed to get the logo.
I had to show y'all. So
I'm wearing this shirt. I'm not sure if we're gonna sell this one or not. I don't know what the legal ramifications of selling this shirt.
Yes, we're like, how many watch lists will we be added to if we try to sell that?
Yeah.
Kind of wearing it though, and I'm glad we're recording this whole episode for the first time, because if you guys have feedback and you like it and you want it, tell us.
Here, you know what? Here, tell us in the comments if we should sell this shirt in our shop. We do have it ready to go, but we don't know if we want to be on any more watch lists than we already are.
Oh, but it's so fun. And then this will be the first episode that we record or we upload to our YouTube channel, which is currently like nothing. But yeah, we're now the wide view. You can see us the whole time. Like, we're really stepping things up, taking on a lot more work, but it's great. And we're excited, and merch is coming very soon. So follow us on social, and we will be posting all about that. So today, the good stuff. The good stuff, sad stuff, so many things.
Well, hold on. Let's start that over. Today, let's take out the good stuff.
Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah. So
today, episode 15, we are talking about Maui. Mm-hmm. And it was such a crazy thing because we were there a month and a half before.
Yeah, about 5 weeks before.
Mid-June.
5-6 weeks before.
Yeah, and it was my first time. I know we talked about this a little bit on a previous podcast, but it makes sense to, talk a little bit about again.
Right.
But we were there. I had never been. It was Tavis's second time since a teenager. He was a teen, and we took our daughter. And it was crazy. I mean, we spent one whole day like on Front Street, just he and I, like shopping around and doing lunch. And we have all these pictures and videos together and all that. And then like a month and a half later,
and everything.
Yeah,
they got there in the center of the town.
Right.
Yeah.
And a month and a half later, it was just completely gone.
Yeah.
And I was like, we were just there, and it'll never be again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Well, and right away, like, we suspected something suspicious, right? Foul play of some sort. But we wanted to sit on it for a while and collect data and make sure that we had a good chunk of information to put out. And what we're going to talk about, I mean, we might kind of go off track a little bit and talk about the conspiracy side of things, but a lot of it is just straight facts of what happened.
Well, and I think too that more than anything in the last few years, conspiracies are becoming more and more just reality.
Right.
So
right. Well, what did we say in our first episode, right? What's the difference between a conspiracy and the truth?
6 months.
Right.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm glad that we waited a little bit on this one, because even though it just happened, I feel like it's already being forgotten about.
Right.
Like, you don't hear about it anymore.
Right.
What happened there?
Right.
Did every household just get $700 and then like that's it? Like,
right.
What are they building yet? Are they still
right.
cleaning up? Again, we don't know, because there's gates around the whole place, which we'll get into.
Mm-hmm.
But again, who's talking about it anymore? Like, no one.
Only the people that have been talking about it the whole time.
Yeah.
Right. It's pretty much just TikTok, YouTube, Twitter that's still talking about it.
Yeah.
Mainstream might mention it every once in a while, saying something new is being deployed there or whatever.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, it's all kind of hush hush.
Yeah.
The last thing you really heard about Maui was The Rock and Oprah asking for money.
You're right.
And that was pretty much it. And then they got blasted for it.
And since then, it's been like quiet.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important to be talking about. And like, come on, we can't not talk about this. This is huge.
I compare it to, it's like the new 9/11 in a sense. I really do, with how many people are missing, especially children. Right. Which we'll cover. But then, the lives that were lost, it is a catastrophic event.
Well, the lives and the legacies.
Right.
Think about how many family-owned businesses
generations
in Lahaina. Yeah. And how, they don't have all this money to just rebuild and, whatnot. They don't have all these breaking insurance policies that are going to get them back in business. Like, they're done.
Right.
They're done.
Well, you had all these scummy real estate people hitting up the family saying, hey, we'll buy your land from you.
Yeah. That's disgusting.
That is disgusting. That is as bad as like those ambulance chaser lawyers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. They're just as bad.
Yeah.
My dad hates real estate agents as a whole. He just hates them as a whole.
Yeah.
Because most of them are scummy. And, not all of them. I'm sorry if you're a real estate agent and that hurts your feelings. But, like, it's just the same thing as, like, being a car salesman.
I work in the home business.
But
I work
that's
with a lot
what
of
I mean.
realtors. They're mean.
But that's what I mean. It's like being a car salesman. You can be a good person and be a car salesman, but majority of the people are scummy people.
Yeah,
They're just trying to get that next big paycheck.
Commissions. Yep.
Right.
Yep. Yeah, sales make people a beast.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. So, anyways, when like putting together our notes for this and everything, I was trying to come at it from a very logical yet questioning perspective. And so I feel like we're about to cover like everything that's necessary, in both the logical sense and like the conspiracy sense too. Right. So we're not trying to like just tinfoil hat y'all. There's a lot of truth to all this too that's, needs to be looked into. So starting with plain fact of the matter, we'll kind of talk more about how the fire started, but for the simple fact of why it spread so easily, so fast, I learned this and I thought it was a very interesting point to understand like why it was so devastating. So there are a ton of American sugarcane and pineapple plantations in Lahaina. They were all really well irrigated, very hydrated, moist. Love that word, moist. They were really well taken care of for a very, very long time. But these plantations were kind of left idle when we realized that we could import sugarcane and pineapples cheaper from other countries. Right. So in that time, basically, these grasses haven't been taken care of. They're, they're invasive non-native grasses in Maui, and they were just growing uncontrollably. So now you have this like insane overpopulation of dry foliage, brush. Super flammable. So whatever started this fire, it was bound to spread like so quickly. The biggest kind of thing is that a power line went down, and I guess that this Hawaiian Electric company also didn't cut the grasses around their power lines like they should have, which also contributed to what ignited all the terrain. And then to top that off, the firefighters didn't have enough water to actually fight the flames because that water was turned off.
Right.
So those were like the three key elements of like why it spread so fast. And we'll talk about the water thing. Oh my gosh, that's a whole deal. Like So much just stupid people, like not doing their jobs.
They're intentionally not doing their jobs.
Right. Which gets us into, I called this section the coincidences. If you're just listening, I'm putting air quotes up because there's no such thing as coincidence.
Yeah.
We don't agree with coincidences. The first weirdest thing is that the Maui police chief was the same man in charge of the shootings in Vegas, the Mandalay Bay shootings during that country festival. How is that the same man?
So here's the crazy thing.
Did they bring him in?
They did. So there was an opening for the Maui police chief, and there were 6 total people that applied for it. 5 of which were local, and the 6th was him from Vegas. They selected him, man, like 2 months before all this happened.
2 months before?
Oh, yeah. So around the time that we were there, he showed up.
Weird. That makes it even less of a quote unquote coincidence. You know what I mean? Like, why?
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that part of it.
Yeah.
No.
He just got hired.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love the genuinely shocked reactions. We don't get many of those. You got me on it.
Yeah.
So that was the first moment. Second of all, and this is very well known at this point, is that homes owned by celebrities, famous people, Oprah, the Obamas. The Rock has property there, doesn't he?
He does.
That's why he's in the video, right? Okay.
Yeah.
They were some of the only homes and buildings not touched by the fires.
And 2 of our houses have blue roofs.
The blue roof thing. We'll get into that too. Oh my gosh, there's so much to talk about. But yeah, that's interesting. Why didn't they get burned down? Sounds like an elitist thing to me. The other weird coincidence, and we're going to get way into this in a little bit. I almost should have just omitted it from this list, but the missing children. Too weird. In our society, when we protect people like Epstein, missing children not being talked about, it adds up.
Well, I mean, Epstein, he had his flight logs, back in 2019? Something like that. He got arrested 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
And they had his flight logs.
Yeah.
Ghislaine Maxwell was 21.
Yeah. I was during COVID.
Where are the names?
Yeah.
Where are the names?
Right. We're still here years later asking.
Yeah. And she only got like 25 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And so they're all connected. Like, that's the part that blows my mind the most is like the people that are still completely oblivious to those types of things.
Well,
Where
it's
the
like
names?
a not my problem kind of deal.
Well, and that's the thing. All of these politicians that have been in politics for years and years and years and years and years and years, never been indicted, never had anything brought against them, anything like that. But Trump gets 4 in a year. Like
the Mar-a-Lago. Did you see the one about his house?
Yeah.
How now he's being not sued, but he's what do you call it? He's being indicted, I guess, again for lying about the price of his home. Yeah. When in fact it doesn't make sense if you look at the comps around him. Like, what? Yeah. It's so freaking
That's
ridiculous.
That's why all those TikTok videos, like Trump finding out he's been indicted for whatever, right?
Trump finding out he shot Abraham Lincoln.
right. Not returning a shopping cart back in '83.
The internet is a cesspool, but it's so good.
Yeah, our side's definitely way funnier.
I know.
Okay, that's another thing. The left does not know how to make memes.
Humor. No.
They don't know how to do any of that kind of stuff.
No, because they're afraid of offending everybody. It's so bad. It's so bad. No, but I was going to say, we're talking about old politicians. Dianne Feinstein died the other day.
Yeah, hallelujah.
And literally, my first thought was, finally. And then I was like, oh, dear God, don't smite me for that. Like, please. I don't mean finally, but like finally.
Oh, no, she's definitely going where she deserves.
Yeah, no, he agrees. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure the big man agrees that Dianne, she needed to go. Time was up.
By the time she passed, she looked how she was on the inside.
Quite literally.
Right.
She voted
like
for something.
A scary monster.
Yeah, I think she voted on something the day before she died, though, too.
Did she?
Yeah.
What was it?
I don't know.
She doesn't
probably
either.
Whether or not kids can chop their genitals off. Right. She doesn't know either. Yeah. Yeah. Her friggin' daughter voted for her. Well,
anyway, that's term limits.
Yeah, term limits.
Term limits.
Look at the friggin' vegetable in office.
So, okay, the simplest reason for term limits is the longer you're in politics, the more detached you are from the people.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So if you're supposed to be a public servant, which is the whole point of politics in the first place,
right.
If you're supposed to be a public servant, then the closer you are to the people, the better you can serve the people. Mm-hmm. So if you've been in politics 50, 60 years, you have no idea whether the common person even eats, wears, listens to, watches.
Right.
Like you have no clue. You have no pulse on the common person anymore. At all. And so how can you make laws that are supposedly beneficial for the people that are supposedly voting for you? First of all, who's voting for these corpses? Like, seriously.
Other dead
who's
people.
Like, this 93-year-old person, I think, is going to change things, even though they haven't in the last 60 years.
Right.
What?
I'm sure they're going to vote differently this time.
The only thing they're going to change is their diaper. Their bag they carry with them,
Their underwear from
Yeah, that's it.
Dropping one in the middle of a Senate session. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's concerning. It's really concerning.
Yeah. Which just goes to show you that nobody is voting for these people.
No.
They're all, it's rigged. It's all fake. It has
to be.
It's all fake. It's all a show. The only reason Trump got in the first place is because they underestimated how many votes he was going to get.
Exactly.
Because the whole time that he was running in 2016, they just kept saying, he's got no chance, he's got no chance, he's got no chance. Hillary was the golden child, right? She was supposed to get...
They didn't think he'd win by that much.
Right. Well,
or he'd get that many votes.
They did cheat.
They did.
And there's so many ballots and everything, or ballot machines that show that you picked Trump and it went to Hillary.
Yeah.
And so they cheated for Hillary, which is how she got the popular vote.
Yeah.
But
you're right.
But they did it in the wrong states.
Yes.
They did it in the states that she was already going to win anyway.
Right.
Like California and stuff like that.
They just didn't cheat hard enough.
Right. Yeah. So the states that she automatically assumed that she was going to get, so like Michigan, blue states or whatever, stuff like that, the Midwest.
Right.
She didn't even cheat there or campaign there because she thought she had it in the bag because they always vote blue. Well, Trump was saying all the things that everyone's been saying about the government for a very long time. Doesn't matter who you usually vote for. You usually vote for the person that you like their message.
Right.
And he resonated with a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, back to Maui.
I kind of like that, though. A little bit of a rant is good. People like that kind of info from us.
Right.
Okay, so we'll go back and talk lots more about missing children. But the next biggest, what in the world? Maui, I think Hawaii as a whole, but maybe even specifically Maui, they have the largest system of outdoor emergency sirens in the entire world.
Right.
I'm getting really upset. In the entire world.
Yeah.
And yet, not a single one went off on that day. Yeah. And I saw
it's because they're in the middle of nothing, so they have to have all these sirens to let people know when hurricanes and stuff like that are happening, or volcano eruption.
Right. And I saw a terrifying video on TikTok of somebody who lived in Lahaina, and they're showing you the progression starting at whatever time in the morning of the fire coming in, and there's not a single siren. And she's like, "Where are the sirens? Where are the sirens?" And then all of a sudden, it's getting to the point where it's basically in the parking lot of their apartment complex. She's like, "Oh my God, we have to go." Mm-hmm. That is terrifying to think that there's no warning. That really gave me right.
I
don't know. That hit me different because I hadn't thought about the fact of you're sitting there, that sitting duck, having no idea what's going on, hoping for if it's that bad, the sirens will start. And they don't.
And you just watch it.
Yeah.
Getting closer and closer.
And then you're running out trying to grab your cats and dogs.
Right.
Ugh, no thank you.
Cats and dogs gotta figure it their own way.
But Chester, we have to take Cheddar. He's so little, it's fine.
You can just fit him in a bag.
Yeah, honestly. The lamest thing about the sirens, it wasn't that there was a malfunction or that they were doing a test like 9/11. They said that they didn't set them off. This will make you so mad. They didn't set them off because they were worried that it would confuse people.
Yeah.
So just discombobulate them instead and have a fire encroach on them without any warning. That's a much better idea. The director of Maui's emergency management system, Herman Andaya, was forced to resign after this. he made the decision. He made the call. He said, quote unquote, "We were afraid that people would have gone maka." Andaya said, using a Hawaiian word that means inland or toward the mountain. If that was the case, then they would have gone into the fire.
Which is funny because the fire spread to the shore.
Right.
Yeah.
The siren system was created after a 1946 tsunami that killed more than 150 people on the Big Island. And the website for these alert systems say that they may also be used in the case of fires. So it was literally set up to help prevent this kind of destruction. The man who was in charge of this and made this terrible call had no background in disaster response either. Like, he was not qualified for this job. So again, why are they putting in the Las Vegas chief officer guy? Mm-hmm. Why are they putting in this guy? Like, they're just setting them up for failure on purpose is what it seems like. Allegedly.
Right.
Talked about this touch in the beginning, but at the same time of the fires, all the water was turned off. And listen to this. Oh, if the emergency sirens didn't piss you off, this will. The Deputy Director for Water Resources of Hawaii's Department of Land and Natural Resources, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names, Kaleo Manuel, was delaying water getting to the fires. He thought that it should be used more equitably and spent 5 hours asking a farmer if they could divert some of the water to the fire company. The taro farmer, who they were talking to about diverting the water, missed the call, and the fire spread. Mm-hmm. Inevitably.
Yeah.
Wasn't he saying that there was something about, like, water sacred to them within...
Yeah, he was talking about the water is its own spirit and it's sacred to their people. So you have to abide by the water.
I understand spirituality. I understand religion. Like, I get it. But, like, in the case of either we turn this water on or a bunch of people die and we lose a bunch of land and properties and homes and everything, you turn the water on. You turn the spigot on, you know? Right. Just insane. While all of that was going on, the police were ordered to block off streets and funnel cars that were trying to escape the island. Like, they were literally funneling them towards Front Street. Mm-hmm. Which is where it was all happening. That's where all these cars were, lined up and getting burnt down. Yeah. I'm going to insert a video right here of a guy, his firsthand encounter. I think it's very important to have videos of people who are actually there. Right. Witnesses to everything.
There's tons.
Yeah. Tons. He got interviewed by somebody, and he talks about the closures on Front Street and being pushed towards the fires, basically.
Yeah.
I was in my truck going to check on some customers' properties, and all of a sudden all the roads were being blocked off right in front of me, and from the cops, and I would go to the next street and that would be blocked off, and the next one, and they just blocked everything off, forced everybody down on Front Street, in which then the flames were coming over our vehicles, not on our vehicles, but the flames were coming over top of our vehicles.
And what street are you on at this point in time?
Front Street.
You're on Front Street itself?
Yep.
So you got directed onto Front Street?
Yep.
Where did you start when you started this journey?
I was going down the highway, and they blocked it off and wouldn't let me go any further.
So you were coming from Laniapoko?
No, I was coming from Waikuli.
Why? Okay, so you're heading
down the
highway. You're heading south.
And then they stopped us from going up on the bypass. Then they wouldn't let me go past the bypass to the other exits to go up there.
So you couldn't go up the bypass?
No. And then all of a sudden they said, everybody's get off this highway, go down this way, down into town. Then they started blocking everything off there, and then you were down on Front Street, and I got all the way down to Safeway. And
so you got corralled onto Front Street. You started on the Honopilani Highway.
Yes.
And you ended up on Front Street.
Yes. Couldn't go anywhere. They just said, go north, go north, go north. And then when we got on Front Street, the embers were coming over the buildings and landing on our vehicles. And we're all in a line trying to get to the end of Front Street to go north, like they told us to, not knowing that the police blocked off the end of Front Street so nobody could move. And then everybody panicked, and they all started everybody went up on the sidewalks and through yards, took out the other lane. And then all of a sudden nobody could move anywhere. So all I did was try to inch my way over to another yard and drive up through a sidewalk, come back around, and then I went the cops were moving around one exit, so I ended up getting up on the highway, even though they trying to direct me another way, and then I hightailed it to home.
So you basically had to climb up on sidewalks and go against what the cops were telling you could do. You had to break traffic laws, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
Right. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying the only way to do it was to cross that line, essentially.
Well, because nobody could move and nobody knew where to go, and I said, I'm getting out of here no matter what.
Right.
I went. And then they started following me, and then I got to my house, and...
And your house is where?
Waiakuli. It was right by the chart house, just across the highway.
Okay.
And then I thought I was safe there. I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal. There was a fire downtown. Okay, I understood, but I didn't think it was going to affect everybody.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, our neighbor came over and said, you need to get out of here now. And we're like, what's going on? Because we didn't hear no sirens, no nothing. And then we found out that they didn't want to sound the sirens because that would direct everybody up onto the high grounds, which would have solved a lot of problems.
Like a tsunami warning would.
Yeah. They didn't want to confuse people with a tsunami warning.
How did you find that out?
Several people said that. Actually, they're saying it on the radio now.
So somebody made a call to not sound the siren because it would...
That's what we heard.
Interesting. But you did not get evacuated.
I even stopped at the roadblock to go to the other side to pick up supplies for people.
Yeah, tell us what happened that night.
So it was at Maui is where the barricade was, and
you were told you could leave and come back and get stuff.
And I said, look, I'm going across right there to the gas station to get gas and ice and come right back. Can I leave and come back? And
you're asking this to the police officer at the blockade in Maui on the poly, right there after the poly. Okay.
Yep.
So that was very eye-opening. Once these videos started coming out, I was like, oh shoot, there's so much more that we're not seeing. We have one more testimony from a resident there that I also want to insert, just because, again, the validity of these things becomes so much higher when you're actually seeing these eyewitness accounts. So here's another one.
But none of them were moving. And I walked all the way from Safeway to the chart house. Not one car had moved. And I was wondering what was stopping the traffic. Well, it was a policeman. And I got to the end and I looked up north. There were no obstructions. There was no reason to keep those cars there.
Are you serious?
I'm serious as a heart attack. And I said, what are you doing? He goes, well, I'm under orders to keep them here. And I said, the fire is right around Safeway. It's going to hit Front Street. You know, these people got to get out of here. And he said, I'm following orders.
No way.
And so I just kept walking. Well, maybe he knows something I don't, you know. So, and I keep walking down the highway, and I look behind, no cars are coming out. I walked all the way to Waiakuli Beach, still no cars coming out. And I started hearing boom, boom, boom. And then I heard people screaming and stuff.
You're saying they were blockaded in by the police at the end of Front Street?
Yeah.
Like where that restaurant is?
Right, where the chart house
Where the chart house was, I should say. There was a blockade there, and they could not go any further.
Right. I walked.
What the hell?
I walked all the way from Safeway to there. Not one car had moved, and people walking in front of me. The people in the cars are saying, "Would you like a ride?" And they go, "Oh, okay." And they get in. They ask me, I go, "No, you better get out of here." You know. But they just, well, we were told to evacuate by car. Okay. So I just kept walking, and I got all the way to, like I said, the Civic Center, and then I started hearing all the explosions, and there was no one walking behind me or on bicycles or anything.
It makes me also wonder, like, are there just a ton of different eyewitness accounts out there? I would love to reach out to the guy that we rented the car from.
Yeah.
In Maui.
Yeah.
I'd be like, what was your, like, what happened in your perspective? Where were you? Like, what happened? I would love to talk to somebody who's actually there. I'm like, we should hit him up.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Another fishy thing about the whole situation, the governor signed an emergency proclamation on July 7th, 2023, which was 3 weeks before the fire. And this emergency proclamation was directly associated to housing. Not like everybody lost their houses 3 weeks later in the fire. After all was said and done, the government put up a black fence around Lahaina. I'm pretty sure it's still, at this point, you can't go out. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't pull up to it. You can't try to take pictures. You can't fly drones over it.
Yeah.
They've made it 100% restricted.
Yeah. Tons of checkpoints and military. All these government agencies are there, which is just like, why do you need the FBI and the CIA and just why?
Right.
It's a fire.
Right.
Why are we blocking it off? The FAA grounded all drones from flying over the area. Additionally, and we love this topic, but since 2011 or possibly even earlier, there have been plans to turn Maui into the first smart city, which would run 100% on renewable energy.
Correct. Yeah.
We'll talk a little more about that in a bit too. But again, plans moving into action. These powers that be wanted the property. They want the land
for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They've approached locals, especially on Front Street, for a long time to buy it, and
right.
they've dug their heels in and said no, over
right.
and over and over again.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Yeah.
It's like the one thing that the government doesn't own.
Right.
Oh, it's gross.
Technically, did you see the whole thing about Hawaii not even being a state?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. There was no treaty ever officially signed.
Right. I think you were telling me about that.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. So
it's a sovereign state.
Yeah. So especially then they want to get their hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
After, again, all was said and done, anybody whose homes weren't burnt down, and I don't think this is everybody, so excuse my overgeneralization there, but a lot of people were getting evicted.
Mm-hmm.
It's
well, that's the thing too. People that were from the affected areas that their houses weren't damaged, they're still not allowed in their house.
Yes.
They're still not allowed to go in there.
They can't go and get their things.
Right. And you have all these federal people in their houses ransacking everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
If they have nothing to hide, why can't people go home?
Right.
It makes no sense to me. Fact checkers have been censoring information about the Maui fires like crazy.
Well, what have we learned about fact
crazy.
checkers?
They're all owned by BlackRock. Yeah. That's what we've learned about them.
Anything a fact checker says
is effing
confirms
true.
Confirms whatever they're denying. Whatever they're denying, it confirms it. Just like our Michael video, our Big Mike. Big Mike.
We had so many people like, this is being blocked. I can't share it. And we're like, we know. It's showing that there's an altered picture, and we didn't know why for a while. And then I realized, I did put that altered picture of him and Barack, where he has the buzz cut and all
head.
That.
Yeah, the
I'm like, I didn't use that. Okay, fine. I get it. But it's true still. It's Big Mike. Come on.
Big Mike.
I cannot. Okay. Serious.
And scene.
Okay, so the missing people count after all of the fires, the count that came from the government has been wrong. Mm-hmm. And they just will not admit to the amount of devastation, which again makes you wonder, why? Why are they lying? 10 days after the fires, the database of missing people from the Maui fires still had over 1,000 names on the list. At this time, the government has been telling us that there were only around 100 deaths. I think the number was like 111 or 115, something like that. Right. They say, and this again is such a crock of BS, the fires were so hot that we may never find the remains of certain adults and children.
Same fires as 9/11.
Right. Yeah. It's sick. It's just lie after lie, honestly. And then the biggest thing out of all these adults missing is that there's missing children. Tons of them.
Missing children.
Tons of them. And like, I'll be honest, the numbers are a little skewed, but I think it's only because different reports were reporting at different times about how many kids were missing. But it's all generally around 2,000. Mm-hmm. So as of August 21st, 2023, there were a reported 2,000 kids missing in Maui. So give or take a little bit on that 2,000 mark. But there were only a handful of bones of children found from the fires. Only a couple hundred kids re-enrolled in school after the fact. The actual numbers on this, which was really interesting. So the number that they have is that there are 966 kids unenrolled. So not going to school again after the fires. But the superintendent of these schools would not come out with a number for a really long time. So he was being really sketchy about things. As of August 31st, 2023, the enrollment for Lahaina Luna complex students looked a little bit like this. So 3,001 re-enrolled in the school they were in before the fires. 778 students re-enrolled in different schools within the district. 874 students applied for or enrolled in the state distance learning program. Not sure what that is, but there's that. About 30% signed up at a charter school, about another 100 for Hawaii independent schools. 12 kids withdrew completely, which leaves 1,200 students that the school district is, quote, trying to get in touch with. Instead of saying we're missing 1,200 kids, they're just like, we're trying to get in touch. They're just not answering the phone.
Yeah.
The phone that burned down in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah.
It's just infuriating.
It's disgusting.
Nobody's talking about it.
No.
You know, and they talked about the fact that there aren't any interviews with parents. You know, I saw one video of like a school board type meeting where parents are going and like talking and, you know, this is a bad thing. But for the most part, you don't see any interviews with parents like grieving over their lost children, right. Interviews with kids, like anything.
Right.
It's just, why aren't they talking about it? The news media is not talking about it. Like, what is going on?
Yeah, they didn't even bother putting any crisis actors up.
No. Right. To top things off, the Maui governor is a piece of work. He would not disclose how many children were missing. There's all kinds of interviews.
He got chased down by a couple of reporters. And the police got violent with all those reporters, putting them in headlocks and everything else.
Yeah. It's not a good situation. If you want to get into the theory side of things, it's where it gets really interesting. Really interesting. So a lot of this, I think, revolves around more like child trafficking. Is that what you would say? More kidnapping these children intentionally. So one of the biggest theories, I thought this one was super, super interesting. And I could totally see it coming true. There are apparently 10 missing school buses after the fires. And there was this video we saw where they're talking about the fact that the island is owned by a billionaire. 98% of the island is owned by a billionaire.
I thought it was the island that's right off of Maui. There's like a little island that's a part of Maui, but it's like a side. It's when we went there, we saw it from our resort that we were at.
Might have been Lanai that I'm talking about then. Huh? Lanai. No?
Yeah.
Maybe?
Maybe.
They were saying in this video, 90% of Lanai is owned by a billionaire. And there's a dock on the island with a business on it called Young Brothers. And if you look on Google Earth, you can see, she like size comparisoned the fact that there are 11 shipping containers on that dock. Mm-hmm. What's really weird, what Young Brothers does as a company is that they transport vehicles, like wheeled vehicles, including school buses. Mm-hmm. So there's 10 missing school buses, and there's 11 shipping containers for a company on the same island who transports wheeled vehicles like buses. The thought is that children were released from school due to the hurricane advisory saying, you guys need to go home. They got on the buses, the 10 buses that are missing, and that the parents never really knew that the kids were coming home. But the kids got on the buses, and those buses took off and took them somewhere that wasn't home. Mm-hmm. And like, if that's true, that gives me the goosebumps. That is horrifying. Mm-hmm. Horrifying.
Well, the thing that makes my blood boil even more with that whole information is Oprah's walking around talking to all these people. I know. I mean, I don't have the proof, but I know with everything that makes me me, Oprah knows what happened to those kids.
Yeah. Doesn't she have a school out there?
I don't know.
Okay.
But
sorry, that could not be a thing at all.
But if she had her hand in all these kids that are missing, now she's walking around amongst their parents that are grieving, looking for these kids.
You know who does that?
That's a sick, sadistic...
A soulless person.
I think she gets joy out of it. I think she eats it up. I think she really enjoys that kind of torture. She's up there in that cult, man.
Oh, I know.
She's way up there.
I know. Yeah, we could probably do a whole episode on Oprah. I keep seeing so much online about her and just like different videos and stuff.
She's evil.
She is. Yeah. She really is.
Yeah, pure evil.
Yeah. I don't trust Oprah. The other thing, and again, this is very much like theory wise, you see some videos on TikTok, and like as much as I want to believe everything I see, sometimes I'm like, but that could be footage from somewhere else. But that could be, you know what I mean? Right. So like taking it all with a grain of salt. We saw another video that was possible footage of a helicopter in the skies during the fires, even though they were all supposed to be grounded at that time. Mm-hmm. The thing that contributes to it that makes it even weirder, ties to the missing kids thing, is that the people who saw it think that it was a cargo helicopter, which holds those shipping containers underneath it. And so in the video that they showed, it did kind of look like that. Again, video could be from anywhere, who knows, but it could also be from Maui, and it could also be what people think it is. Right. You know, nothing's off the table here. The last thing, this was a big, and just to kind of show that there are things out there, again, that could be true but could also be false. There was this big story going around. I looked into this because we saw these TikToks about it, and I was looking at it. It was fact checked. So again, take the fact check with a grain of salt. This could be very much real. It could also not be. It said that on September 17th, 2023, Navy SEALs saved 15 children who were kidnapped from Maui. Yeah. I'm reading this from a source that was debunking the story, so be aware that's the tone of it. It said the story weaves a suspect narrative about a September 14th rescue by Navy SEALs of children who were supposedly kidnapped in Maui and flown to Oahu, which would line up with the helicopter thing if they were actually there. It begins with a SEAL team subduing 3 guards armed with automatic rifles to enter a warehouse in Honolulu, where they find 15 sedated children locked in cages covered in their own urine and feces. The SEALs then carry the children as well as an unconscious prisoner aboard a plane and fly them to a nearby Marine Corps base for treatment. It said, taking this with a grain of salt, we don't like fact checkers in this house, the false information was published by Real Raw News, a site known for running fabricated stories. Many of its posts involve made-up tales about the U.S. military and cite only anonymous sources. The site did not return a request for comment. Well, they don't have to. The story about the children provided no credible evidence to support its claims. It cited only one alleged anonymous source from the office of a Marine Corps general. So I don't know. There's parts of me that think that description is like pushing me towards believing it's real.
Shortly before that one, I was hearing a story of Marines pulling bodies out of the water with bullet holes in them.
Yeah, I remember you saw that too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we talked about that. And again, I wouldn't put these things past the people who run our world. Right. But at the same time, like, I don't want to be spreading like false stories. Like, it's just so hard to know. Right. You know?
Well, unfortunately, because we've been conditioned to be lied to constantly. Yeah. And the fact that we have dove? Yeah. Dived? Divin? Delved? Dive deep down different rabbit holes.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, since we have dived deep down different rabbit holes, and a lot of it has come out to be true, right? Now, granted, there's a lot of false conspiracies out there are just complete BS. Yeah. But because we keep going down these different paths and finding out it's not exactly what they're telling us. Yeah. And we've been shown time and time again, mainstream media will never tell us the truth. Never. Even when, like, you thought you could trust, like, Newsmax or something like that, then they churn, right? And they do something. Right. So, I mean, it's you can't really trust anything anymore. You have to take in information, dissect it yourself, and come to your own conclusion on it.
Right. And I think that's a big thing of what we want to be doing, too, is, like, since we are really jumping into more of, I guess, kind of the conspiracy realm, we're taking a little bit of a step back from like commentary on culture, I guess, and talking more like the facts of the matter, like events, things that affect us. I want to present things that are questionable, you know, like I want you guys to hear it all. Like, this story could very much be real. I would totally believe that this happened, but it could very much also be fake. We don't know. True. But you have to think that in your mind and like just remember that as things happen, like we realize certain things about 9/11 had to be true. Right. It changes the way you're thinking about the future events. So just like keep this in the back of your head, you know?
Right.
You don't know, but it's good. It adds to your skepticism. It adds to asking questions. So I'll always preface things if I don't think they're real with, this could not be real, because we're not here to dupe you guys, put it that way. But yeah, I just, knowing how valuable children are to the sick, powerful people in our world. I mean, I started hearing rumors about the kids going missing, and I was like, yep, lines up. Not shocking at all.
Right.
You know?
And then you have all these greedy billionaires showing up. Oh, hey, how are you guys doing? You okay?
Yeah. Here's some water bottles.
Well, and my whole thing, like we pledged $10 million. Oprah is worth billions. She's a billionaire.
Billions.
The Rock is worth millions, right? But Oprah is a billionaire.
2.8 billion.
Right.
Miss Oprah. And then let's see.
Dwayne's probably like, I don't know, 50 million.
800 million.
Really?
$800 million.
Well, I guess him and like Kevin Hart are pretty much in everything.
Yeah, and then when he's not doing that, he's doing all the Fast and Furious.
Okay, what did Kevin Hart and The Rock do to get all this stuff? Right? Why are they the main actors in Hollywood right now?
That's another episode.
Like Kevin Hart doing the whole shh thing to what's her name?
Kelly Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson.
Yep.
And she was like, "Oh, I've had people throw money in my face to do some things I didn't want to do," and he's like, "Shh.
Don't talk about that." Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's something we have to talk about at some point.
Hollyweird, man.
Yeah.
Anyone you know that is a celebrity or in power, politician, anything like that, they're all part of the cult.
They got there somehow.
And we ain't in it.
Right.
We're not part of the clique.
It's us and them.
99% versus the 1%.
Yeah.
Hunger Games, man.
Yep.
It's Hunger Games.
Yep. They don't want us to know how powerful we are either. That's the problem.
Bug's Life.
Yeah.
Like all my references. Bug's Life is legit though. Like seriously, for a Disney movie. So it was the grasshoppers, right? That they bullied the ants and they had them get all their food and feed them and all that stuff for the winter, right? Well, there's only like 30 grasshoppers. There's hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of ants, right? And so when the grasshoppers, the main guy, he was basically saying, look, if they realize that they outnumber us 100 to 1, it's over.
Yeah.
It's the same thing, right?
It is.
And that's why they keep us divided.
That's why they keep us dumb and weak. Stupid.
And so people like us, right, that see the world the way that we do, that view everything the way that we do, and are able to dissect everything that's going on and see behind the veil, we are kind of the ones that have to spread that information, even if they're not sitting in front of a camera like we are, right? At least sharing or doing something or passing stuff. Like we get so many people that send us stuff in the messages all the time, spreading that information.
We do. Yep. And it's like, it is crazy because so many of you guys see what's going on and you're sharing it, you know, like I don't expect everybody to make a podcast like we do. No. It takes certain people to do that. Right. But it is crazy just to see how many people are waking up to it. And like, we're a very new account still, especially to a lot of our followers. Right. And yet like we interact with a lot of people.
We try to,
Yeah. A lot of people send us stuff. So it's awesome just to see that like there are so many like-minded people. Thank the Lord. Hallelujah. It's going to be a lot harder for these people to get away with stuff the smarter we are and the more we're actually thinking. Right. So, yeah. Go you guys. Right. All right. Sorry, I'm just adjusting here.
Yeah. We have to unite. And that's the biggest thing is at the end of the day, you know, it's us versus them, you know, and so we just need to realize that our differences are what make us great, what make us work well together, right? So like us, like there's things that I do as far as all this podcast stuff that I'm phenomenal at, and there's things that you do that you're phenomenal at, right? And it just matches well together. Right. And that's the thing. And as long as they keep us divided, we'll never realize that, and we'll never, you know, be able to change it.
Right. Well, I think too, it's the fact that they spread this message that everything has to be equal. Equity,
right.
equity, equity.
Right.
That's not the way life works.
Right.
Everybody has a different path.
Right.
So it's like, even if you're not making as much money as Steve next door,
Mm-hmm.
who's to say that you're not as happy or that you're not as successful? You know what I mean? Like, everybody is supposed to be different.
But that's their utopian world.
It's
like that movie, The Giver, that we watched the other day.
Yes.
Thanks, Spencer.
We got to talk about that.
Yeah, Spencer from Florida, shout out. Appreciate it for putting us onto that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, they basically, it was like a futuristic, apocalyptic world that was a perfect utopia.
Yeah.
Right? And everyone was the same.
Yeah.
And the reason why everyone was the same is because everyone was taking these daily injections that basically gave them no emotion.
Yeah. Yep.
Took away all emotion. And so everyone was just a drone, an NPC.
Yeah. Yeah.
And equal.
Yep.
And they were selected to do whatever job they were supposed to do for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We got to talk about that in that next episode, too, with him more. Yeah. We have big things coming, you guys.
Yeah.
But back to Maui. We're getting on good tangents tonight. Tangents for sure, but good tangents. I like them.
They work.
They work. Another sore spot to all this Maui stuff is that there was just the worst, like, such a lack of resources and help to those people on the island.
Right.
Absolutely horrendous. Intentionally, yeah.
And then when the locals from the other islands were bringing in supplies to help them out and all this other stuff, the police would shut it down.
Yeah.
Completely shut it down.
Yeah.
We got a video of that on our TikTok of a police officer showing up to a supply spot, a placard, and shutting it down, saying there's powers to be. I don't understand, but we got to shut this down.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to donate anything unless you're FEMA or Red Cross.
Yeah. Well, and how many of those like GoFundMes and weird funds were not actually going to those people because it wasn't FEMA?
Yeah.
That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah. FEMA are bad.
FEMA's really bad. Oh, yeah. To top it off, so it was really hard to get fire and rescue teams in. There was no cell phone service. We already talked about there wasn't any kind of siren or warning. And then our freaking president just put a cherry on top of the whole thing and was like, oh, we'll help you guys out. We are going to give you a one-time payment per household. I didn't know it was per household until earlier. Of $700. $700 freaking dollars. What on God's green earth is that going to cover?
As we're giving billions upon billions to Ukraine and NATO.
Yeah, you shared that one thing today on our stories that I think it's like 22 million a day.
Yeah.
We send to Ukraine. You guys, 700 per family.
Yeah.
Hawaii is one of the most expensive places.
Right.
Absolutely ridiculous. I think
rent there is like the average rent there was $3,000 a month.
I thought it was 2.
Rent is 3.
2 to 3, put it that way.
Yeah.
Too much. It's just that $700 isn't going to do anything. Okay, so first he insults everybody with $700 stimulus payment. I don't know what you want to call it. But on top of that, Joe Biden waited
It's toilet paper is what it is.
Yeah.
$700 toilet paper. Because that's what he basically thinks of the people in Maui. He's wiping his ass with.
Right. He cared so much that he waited 5 days before even speaking about the fires. And when he was on vacation at the beach, his response to all this was no comment.
Yeah.
No comment.
As he smiled getting into the vehicle to go on vacation.
No comment.
Yeah.
He finally went to Maui after leaving his second vacation of the month in Tahoe. Went there and just gave some like BS speech about we're going to do whatever it takes to get everyone back. Decrepit old man. Go back to your basement. He was, just wanting to throw money at the problem and blame it all on climate change.
Yeah. And then also relate to the locals in Maui because of a small kitchen fire
that was that speech
got put out almost instantly. But it was the same as what they went through. It was an inconvenience for like 20 minutes, but
unbelievable. It's like when they compare 9/11 to January 6th.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
People on the island were unable to get meds. I saw a video of a woman saying, I can't even get my medications right now. Like, that's horrible. I mean, they clearly lost money, their homes, animals, legacies, like everything. There's a video of a woman I'll insert here where she's talking about, we give so much to Ukraine and yet we are here getting nothing.
I haven't had anybody call me back. I didn't have anything. I have no idea. I lost my house. I lost my car. I lost my animals. I mean, come on, man. We're not getting anything. Till today, I still didn't get my meds. I cannot get my meds yet. My medicine was all burnt in my house. My rent money was all burnt in my house. I have no money anymore. I think Joe Biden should take his $700 and get back on the plane and go home. That's what I think. Because $700 compared to all the millions he's giving to Ukraine, why? We need it. That's why we don't understand why. We're citizens and we cannot get money. But if they're not citizens, they get gazillions of dollars from the USA. Where's our government? Fix your house before you fix somebody else's house.
Is this how, like, your community, other Hawaiians, you know, locals, indigenous people, is that how they feel, pretty much how you feel?
Everybody feels that way. Come on. That's why the local people stick together and we help our own people because we know the outside people are not going to do it.
And then, of course, Tavis was also talking about the fact that people have not been given the opportunity to go back to their homes and, like, collect their belongings at all.
Mm-hmm.
That's just weird. It's so... If you own a home and it gets burned down, you suddenly have no ownership or claim of that property anymore at all? I didn't think that's how that worked.
Well, they're just restricting the whole area. They're saying it's hazardous.
Oh my gosh. Makes me sick.
So what's crazy about those fires is every single car that burnt, the wheels melted. The aluminum wheels melted, and there's just molten aluminum all throughout the streets.
Yeah.
There's that video that has that dog that's like petrified.
Right.
If that dog just burnt, it's not going to be stiff and petrified like that.
And that again contradicts what they're saying about the fires were so hot that they weren't going to find most of the bodies.
Right.
So then why would there be like a fully formed dog petrified in the street on Front Street? That makes no sense. And that kind of leads us into this whole conspiracy theory, whatever we're calling it, of the direct energy weapons in Maui and how this could have played a role. So I don't know how they work. Do you know how technically like they work, direct energy weapons?
That's a direct energy weapon. It's frequencies.
Okay.
So it's frequencies. I remember seeing something a long time ago on History Channel. They used to have this show called Future Weapons. And it's weapons that they have that they're working on, but it's
like laser, yeah?
Right. So it's waves, it's heat waves or radio waves and stuff like that. So everything has metals in it, right? Everything has metal compounds in it. And so what they do is they use these sound waves or these radio waves or whichever type of energy weapon it is, and they basically activate with those molecular whatevers. Okay,
compounds.
Right. And so that's kind of what makes... So there was even... shout out Spencer. Man, we're going to have to talk a lot. He was talking about how DEWs could have even been involved with 9/11 back then. Because the day before 9/11 on 9/10, there was a hurricane. And so that's the whole thing with cloud seeding and all that other stuff. There was a hurricane off the coast of Maui right when this happened. That was why the whole wind advisory, right? But... You know, that kind of goes with the whole why nothing blue was burnt. You know, if it was a laser or whatever, right? You get the Tommy Bahama umbrellas, you got the blue cars, you got the clothing shop that was completely burnt to a crisp, but the guy walked in there and found all blue clothing still unburnt and tattered and everything else. So it's very odd. It's very strange. I don't know too much about the DEWs. I haven't really dove down that rabbit hole that much. But that's definitely something that Spencer is very
I think that's
knowledgeable
something
on.
we'll talk about a lot in the next episode.
Because that has to do with the first part of it too.
Yeah, we'll have a guest our next episode.
Yeah, that's
if we haven't alluded to that enough already.
Yeah.
That we'll get into this further. Everything kind of ties together, so we'll get you a little more info at the end of the episode on that. But part of me thinks like there was that video. There's a video out there of a laser beam. Well, they say it's the power line falling over. But in reality, there's like this really big flash on the security camera, and
then all of a sudden fire.
Right. And that's what they think is like the power line going down.
That's what they said was the power line.
But what if it was like a laser of some sort or something that started that fire? I mean, there could have been multiple starting spots.
It's such a shoddy camera angle.
And then it like flips all of a sudden.
Right.
Yeah.
But all you see is a flash.
Right.
And then you see fire.
Right.
And so, I mean, it could literally be anything.
Yeah. And it could be, they could have made it up for us to say, oh, no, that was definitely the power line or whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
I have so many questions.
If the fire was so hot they can't even find bodies, then how did that camera footage survive?
True.
If that's where the fire started and everything
Well,
else.
couldn't that camera footage like be in the cloud?
It could be.
And it goes to a server.
Yeah. I mean,
So it's
I
not like
guess
a
so.
physical
But
tape.
wouldn't they show the fire reaching the camera and all that?
Yeah,
and like
probably.
melting or whatever else. They didn't show any of that.
No. Suspicious. Biden's added some fuel to the fire when he tweeted out, quote, "We're laser focused on getting aid to survivors, including critical needs, assistance, blah, 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 blah." Writes in the tweet, "We are laser focused." How many other there's so many other phrases you could have used.
It's like Pete Buttigieg at the train wreck saying, "Sorry, I lost my train of thought."
Oh my gosh. But again, we talk about it. They have to put it in your face.
They're doing it. Yeah.
It's
putting
on
it in front of your
purpose.
face so they can omit any guilt.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They're putting it out there.
Right.
And if we don't call them out on it,
That's
we don't.
our problem.
Right. It's on us.
Yeah. Laser focused. Not we're hard at work. This is our top priority. No, we're laser focused.
No, in his defense, he has used that term before,
But for this
specific one.
He's the president of the United States. If y'all don't think that he has all of his tweets like super scheduled out.
He doesn't tweet.
No.
It used to be, other than Trump. I think Trump's the only one that tweeted for himself.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah.
And I don't think he would let anyone near his Twitter account.
No way.
But I mean, I used to think like for Obama, it was probably an intern, right? Just tweeting everything.
Maybe he pops on every now and again.
Right. Maybe like a direct message or something.
Sure.
But then with Biden, I used to kind of think the same thing. Maybe it's just an intern. I think it's just AI now. I really do. I think it's just AI because if you look at his Twitter account, he posts the same message over a span of time.
Right.
And so it would be like 3 times in a week.
Right.
Same exact wording.
I just saw that one about like Ticketmaster. Like they won't be able to put any like weird fees on your tickets for concerts anymore.
Yeah.
And that was way back in the day when, again, we're struggling to buy groceries and people are like, nobody cares about
going to
concert tickets when we can't
except
buy
for
gas.
Swifties.
Huh?
Except for Swifties.
Oh my God. I don't even want to go there.
I
You're getting pissed off.
I don't get the obsession.
I don't either.
I really don't.
Either. No.
And how does her cat have a net worth of $90 million?
That makes me want to throw up.
How does a cat?
That makes me want to throw up.
A cat.
A cat. A cat. Bang, bang, bang. Reload.
Yeah.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah.
Ah.
It's like that girl that got famous on TikTok for bobbing her head. I don't want to say her name. I don't remember it, but I don't want you to say it either. If you,
I don't know who that is.
She just bobbed her head to a song and like crossed her eyes at the end and like got stupid famous, got a record contract out of it, made a music video.
I hate our world.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's the algorithm for TikTok is in China, it's the smarter you are, the more creative you are, the more views you get, right? So like these people that you see that are artists on TikTok and they like do the time lapse of them making a painting or whatever. Those are the ones that get the most views. They have the exact opposite algorithm here. The dumber you are, the more views you get, right? Every once in a while, you'll get a video that takes off, right? And then kind of blows up, kind of like that one we got going on right now on TikTok. But they glorify stupidity. They glorify the dumbing down of society.
Yep.
And that's kind of our uphill battle too. And that's the algorithm.
It is.
Right? It's all an algorithm.
Yeah.
It's not even a person. This whole time I'm sitting here like sending messages, you Nazis, to put our stuff back on. But it's an AI bot.
Yeah.
It's an AI bot, which is why some of those things make no sense whatsoever.
No.
It's like one of our 9/11 videos. It's like hateful behavior. What? Yeah. We're just talking about an event that happened 22 years ago.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep. Yeah. No.
Hateful behavior.
Yeah. It's an uphill battle every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Something else that we saw, and again, I'm not 1,000% sure on the validity of what this is, what it could be. I saw some kind of mixed interpretations. 7 years ago, Maui locals found tunnels 300 feet underground throughout the island. So I don't really have much more to say on that. But if you have island or tunnels under your city, you can get away with everything. It's like secret passages to and from anywhere. I mean, if they're smuggling kids, if they're... There's supposedly like a whole underground system actually created by FEMA that connects to all the Walmarts in the country.
Yeah, I heard
you heard
that
about that?
Ago,
yeah. And that if
and
they're
when the
have
Walmarts
camps,
were shutting down for a while, FEMA was there doing some weird stuff.
Yeah, for all those renovations and stuff. Yeah. So that's interesting. Some people were like, no, those are lava tubes. Those are lava caves. And they're like, no, they're not. Like, that's not what these people are talking about. There's videos on YouTube. Huh?
I said lava makes stairs.
Right.
In an elevator.
And I've been in lava caves. I've gone through lava tubes, like the whole hiking thing before. And like from the video, it's very much different. So that was just an interesting thing to note. But the last theory, that has so much validity. So Tavis and I are very much under the impression of this was all set up because they want to turn Maui into the like first smart city.
One of the first, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They've been wanting to for years and years, like we said, going back to as early as 2011 or even earlier than that. And so this kind of all plays into this whole smart city theme, which we are going to dive so deep into in the coming weeks. But I'm going to butcher this. Kilauea volcano? I don't know.
How do you spell it?
It's Kilauea.
That was way too fast for me.
Yeah, no, it was never going to help you pronounce it. But for everybody else, that volcano, it was erupting September 10th through the 16th of 2023. And we saw this video, somebody was talking about this, and they're saying, like, why, of all the places, if they're going to, build a smart city, if they're going to do this whole, like, fire and ruin everything, like, why Maui? They could have picked, like, any small island out there that nobody would notice, nobody would ask a single question about, but they chose Maui, which is like a huge tourist destination. Like, people have their eyes on this place, and so what they found out, and this is from a recent article, actually, I think this came out in 2023, we'll have it linked on our website. Volcano discovery could power electric cars for decades. This was the title of this article. It said that one volcano holds 120 million tons of lithium. And I believe there's 15 volcanoes alone amongst the islands of Hawaii. And then across the country.
That's basically what they are. They're volcanoes.
Yeah.
That's why they're islands.
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. Thank you. And I think across the world, there's like 129, 130, something like that in terms of volcanoes. So with all of that lithium, the big thing is that lithium batteries are what will inevitably, if it comes to be, the thing that powers smart cities.
Correct.
So think if there's
vehicles,
right, if there's 120 million tons of lithium in this one volcano, let alone the 100-something across the world. Like, this is where they start. This is where they get that resource from. And there's all kinds of articles online talking about how lithium ion is going to be the future of smart cities. So again, like, you can't ignore that fact.
Well, what's crazy too is, so like, okay, so not even like the politicians or the globalists or whatever, but like the normal people that are all about green energy and going into ion batteries as opposed to fossil fuels. Right. And first of all, fossil fuels, the only reason they call it that is to make you think like there's a limited amount. We would never run out of gas. So oil is like the blood of the earth. It reproduces itself. You would have to, you can't drill too much. You know, you can drill certain areas and stuff like that. But the damage that they do to the earth to get the materials for ion batteries is way worse than drilling for oil.
Yeah.
It's destroying the earth so much faster. Yeah. But the whole point of these smart cities is to have like a little bubble utopia while everything else around it is completely trash.
Gone to crap. Yeah. And isn't lithium ion the one that like little kids and slaves and whatnot are
That's cobalt.
Mining?
Cobalt, lithium.
Yeah, lithium though. That was one of them that they're mining
Cobalt,
for. Yeah.
lithium, yeah.
Yeah, and they're always talking about, you know, people are out here like, oh, the earth, we have to save climate change, blah, 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 while they're tweeting from an iPhone that some little kid and some children have died for. People have died for because they have to mine that lithium.
Yeah.
Like, we all do it. It's fine. We all have phones. But to sit here and be like, oh, we have to save the earth from your phone that's killing people.
Right.
Like, okay.
Or like the people that are like down with capitalism as they got their Starbucks in their hand and they're tweeting from their iPhone. Yeah.
I know.
A Nike hat.
Yeah. People are insane. Yeah. Maui just breaks my heart.
It does.
Like, as a whole, it makes me so sad, and we were just there.
We were just there.
And it makes me feel like that was such like a sign from God of like, you were supposed to be there. Like, you were supposed to go and enjoy that and have that moment.
And have that attachment to it.
Yeah, because it's not going to happen again. And it was just, we're never going to go back to that. The outlet's not there anymore either. The stores, like anything. The little place we had fish and chips that was over the water, that's gone. Like,
all the places we had fish and chips.
All the places we had so many fish and chips.
That's all I ate the whole time we were there was fish and chips.
It is such a beautiful place, and it is
gone.
Such a tragedy. Yeah. It's upsetting. So upsetting.
Yeah. But trying to get the information out there is the best we can do at this moment.
Yeah.
And, you know, really try to get people to not just trust the narrative blindly anymore.
Right.
You know, and there's so much proof out there that the narrative steers you wrong majority of the time. For years upon years.
Yeah.
And so I think if people kind of look at stuff like this and they kind of are able to be able to take this type of information and use it in a way that they can better become knowledgeable on these types of topics and what is really going on and what isn't going on, you know, the false narrative. Like we said, there's some of the stuff you got to take with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But I think the more people do that, the more that we can do something to at least bring awareness to try to stop these things from happening in the future. Because Maui was just a perfect spot for them to do it, you know, and I hate to say perfect, but in their eyes, it was the perfect spot for them to do it because it's isolated. It's in the middle of nowhere, right? They can cut off electricity. They can cut off water. They can cut off Wi-Fi. They can cut off everything. You know, those people are stranded. Yeah. They're there by themselves. You know, they can't do it in the middle of America because there's too much here.
Right.
You know, at least not yet. So... Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they use DEWs and blame it on an alien invasion at some point in like the mainland. Yeah.
I'm terrified.
That's just my thoughts.
Our thoughts get real dark when we keep going about it.
They can.
It's just like a good thought, I think, to anybody, because especially if you're like us, you find these things really interesting. Like, as horrible as they are, you know, you're like, wow, I got to keep learning more. I got to learn more. You can get to a very, very, very dark place, like very quick. Like, there are certain times where I'm like, why do we even bother? Because, like, what is the outcome?
Yeah.
But they want us to feel that way. They want us to feel hopeless and like nothing's ever going to change. And so if you're like us and you get through a scrolling pit and you're just like feeling doom and gloom, like, pop off. Give yourself some time, because there is obviously like doomsday ahead. There's so much stuff going on, but like we also still have to enjoy life.
Well, and that's kind of one thing I wanted to talk about with this. Like, this was a very serious topic that we talked about today, but there was different times where we went on tangents and we joked and we laughed and stuff. And that's not to take away from the seriousness of the topic or the people that were affected by this. For me personally, that's kind of a coping mechanism for me, because I have been down these really nasty rabbit holes for a very long time. And for me to kind of balance it out, I have to joke. I have to go on the tangents. I have to do those things, because if you don't, I mean, your brain will eat you alive. I mean, it will. It'll just eat away at you, and it's not good for anybody.
And the worry takes over, which makes everything worse, which doesn't make you as strong of a person to stand up against these things. So, like, you just have to.
You have to find the balance.
You do.
Because there's been times where it's been too much for me, and I just got to completely detach myself from anything like that.
Yeah.
For even months at a time. You know. I
know, and I feel like we did that during the summer. We took a couple months. I was just overwhelmed by everything in general, but that was just like the worst to add on top of it. You know?
Well, it's because we have an idea of what's coming. Yeah,
which is sad. But, like, it's not going to keep us from, like, having babies and, like, making life as best as we can. But, yeah, just always remember, like, these are our down-to-earth conversations. What did you say?
I said off the grid.
Off the grid. I would love to be fully self-sufficient.
Right?
I just need, like...
I have, like, a ranch house, like, near a river up in the mountains.
A cool... $750,000.
Yeah.
I will make that go so far.
Yeah.
I am the queen of budget when I need to be.
We'll do solar, all that stuff.
We'll do solar, which does anybody else's electric bill go up incredibly high recently?
Yeah, that's stupid.
We have so many solar panels on our house, y'all. We live in Arizona, and we're still paying so much in electric right now. It's disgusting.
We live in Arizona.
When was the last time we had a not sunny day? Even when it's overcast,
we should be collecting enough solar energy to power our house, our neighbor's house.
Our house isn't 12,000 square feet, you know? Right. Ranting on. But yeah, life's tough right now. So
our next episode.
Yeah.
This is the one that I've been really, really excited about.
Well, it's a series.
It's going to be a 3-part series. And it's going to be Agenda 2030. Yeah, it's okay. So if you're just listening, Ashley's kind of got a worried look, like the nervous smile going on.
I don't think you noticed the nerves in it.
I'm as bad as 2030 is. I am salivating to talk about it. I am so overly excited to talk about it.
My nervous face is knowing that I haven't put together any of the outlines for any of those episodes, and
it's all in my head. It's I got you, baby.
We mostly share a brain. I'm just gonna need you to word vomit.
I got you.
We're gonna talk about all kinds of things, because this really, like, we talked about DEWs today. We're gonna go into all kinds of these. There are a ton of, like, natural disaster events this year, last year that happened.
That's the first part of it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going to bring Spencer on.
Yes.
Spencer from Florida on TikTok.
Spencer from Florida. Follow him now. Get ahead on his content before he's on.
Yeah, he has a lot of videos on DEWs, Maui, tons and tons of stuff. We were going to use them for this episode, but he actually mentioned to us 2030 before.
We even talked to him.
About it. Yeah. So we're like, all right, well, that's a 3-part series. So let's use it for the first one at least.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really excited about episode.
It's gonna be very comprehensive, very deep. And it's one of those things where everything connects like so seamlessly.
It does.
That it's kind of scary. It's really scary.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's perfect. Like, I mean, it to not sound like I'm a globalist sympathizer in any way, shape, or form, but the plan is beautifully put together.
I know.
I mean, they've put in their homework. Yeah. I mean, they really did. They know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah. They cover their bases.
And I hate to say this, I'm not entirely against the depopulation idea. I just don't want to be a part of it. Maybe that 80%.
80%. Whenever people drive us crazy now or someone's just dumb, we just look at each other and go, 80%.
Yeah, not study.
I don't know if it's even like real or not, but we're gonna go
80% of the world can't use critical thinking.
It sure seems like it from my everyday experience.
Right.
Lord. Well, anywho,
on that note,
with all of that excitement to come, do not forget to hit subscribe. We are now on YouTube, so you can subscribe there now as well if you're watching this here. We are going to do videos going forward, making more work for ourselves. Yeah.
Every day you have to tell me to not pick up a new project.
Literally, that's my new thing. He came to me. What did you even bring up today?
It's always something different.
It was something, though, that would be like so much extra effort, you guys. Like, there's no way. And I just keep looking at him and go, no new projects. No new projects.
Every day.
No new projects.
Every day. I'm like, oh, we should do this. Oh, we should venture off and do this.
I say no new projects and walk away. That's the thing now.
Yeah. And then I look into the project anyway.
Yeah, and then he brings it up at like the worst possible time. I'm like making dinner, flustered, hot as hell from being in the kitchen. And he's like, how about them? Like, go sit down. Talk to me after dinner. Married life. We love it. Yeah. But anyways, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok.
Yep.
That's really where we do all of our work.
You know, I mean, we're still going to post to TikTok. We're still going to grow that one and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think our main focus is going to be Instagram now.
Absolutely.
As far as that type of social media platform. Just there's so much red tape on TikTok, and they shadow ban so much crap.
The latest thing they're doing, they've always shadow banned us. Because you'll see on our profile, like one video has 400,000 views organically, and then the next one's at like 240, like 240.
Not
done.
240,000, 240.
240.
Yeah, with 16,000 followers.
Middle fingers TikTok, middle fingers all around. The latest thing they're doing though now is like they're striking our videos and taking the audio off for copyright.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious because we literally use a music platform that is all copyright-free music that we pay monthly for.
Yeah.
So like, again, middle finger.
Well, or when we promote something, it'll be like, you can't promote this because it's not original content. It's literally us. What are you talking about?
It's our audio of our voices. It's the video of our faces and bodies.
I mean, we put clips in from like news clips and stuff, but they're news clips.
How many people post news clips just straight up for who they are? We have posted them and put our freaking logo on them.
Yeah.
And they have not been flagged.
Yeah.
Like we are like taking credit for like a CNN video. Doesn't get flagged.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate TikTok.
Yeah.
Instagram is where it's at. All of our followers on Instagram are just like the bee's knees. It took a little while to get started there, but we're now at like a super steady pace that I'm hoping will pass up TikTok in like the next week. Yeah. Fingers crossed. And if y'all share our videos on your stories, that goes such a long way. Instagram is really prioritizing shares right now. So the more you do that, the more feeds we get into, which means the more we grow, which means the more people wake up.
No.
I'm tired.
Also,
gosh, what's the also?
Something else we are launching though.
Uh-huh.
A side project that we are launching.
What's the side project we're launching? Oh, yeah. I was like, are you bringing each other together? I was like, oh my gosh, let's not talk about that now. I don't know what's happening with that. Our merchandise, which we mentioned a little bit at the beginning. We are...
I didn't even say what the shirt was in the beginning.
Yeah, go ahead. Show it off again.
Yeah, it says Trump or War 24. With a nice picture of Trump.
Yes. Yeah. Because, I mean, let's be real. If he doesn't get elected, what's going to happen?
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It is, seriously.
They had to cheat.
If Trump doesn't get in, that'll spark a civil war for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if they run Biden again. They won't, but especially if they run Biden again and they're like, oh, you got 91 million votes this time. Yes, the guy that walks up to a camera and says, my butt's been wiped, has got 91 million votes. Yeah. Yeah.
My booty. No way. Yeah.
We need to put that on a shirt. My butt's been wiped.
You have made one like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll do something.
Yeah.
We'll do something. I got Biden as a clown on another one.
Huh?
I got Biden as a clown on another one.
I know. It's a scary clown. That's a good Halloween shirt.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the Halloween one.
Maybe.
Anyway, merch is coming out very soon.
Yeah. Well, I would say the first half of October. We don't have a specific date for it yet. We'll launch teasers and everything.
There's a few details being worked out, but we're gonna do. We got some samples in, so we are gonna do some photos, build out the website a little bit more, and then we'll share it, post it up. We got some really good stuff. Like, we've never designed shirts before, but I think they're awesome.
Yeah.
We got the samples in, and I was like. And then we have a clothing rack in our studio with them all hanging up on it.
Store.
Huh?
It's like being a kid in a candy store.
Yeah.
Or on Christmas, getting all your presents.
Yeah. And Tavis has really like spearheaded the whole process while I've been like stuck in the content.
I just throw everything together and you perfect it.
That's kind of how we are, period. Yeah. But like I haven't been as hands-on with the process, and so like it really hit me when they came in yesterday and today that I got to see them in person, and I was like, oh shoot, like this is really freaking cool. So we're super excited about that. And we'll let you know when it's up. But you got to follow us on Instagram and TikTok to know when it's ready. So with all of that being said, where are we at? Like an hour and a half later?
Probably.
Thanks so much for listening. We very much hope you come back next time. Like we said, we got a big series coming up and lots of exciting
Agenda
things.
2030.
Merch.
Yeah, launching merch.
Yep. Yeah. All kinds of stuff. So stay tuned. We love you all. Thank you for the support. And we will see you next time.
Goodbye.